Oh, no, this is the new 3D 2D where you build a lot of 3D assets, but then slap 2D models on them.
Then the NPCs are all just kind of standing around. It doesn't feel like a real city. It feels like one of those cities in China that they built up to prop up their housing industry that nobody actually lives in. And I'm just wondering why.
They're just standing there. They're not doing anything. There's no lifelike animation. The text may tell you that this Pokemon is hard at work, but there's no visual representation of that.
We should just caption everything and just go,
Just have text.
Pokémon Legends Z-A is the laziest AAA game I have ever seen.
After review after review after video of people being downright disappointed by Legends Z-A, I decided I'm going to play it for myself. So let's talk about it. I haven't really been playing Pokemon for too long. I did play a little bit as a kid when my cousins or my friends would hand me either their game system or the game in order to just try it out. But I never really understood Pokemon, especially when it came to like turn-based combat and which mons kind of are better than others. I was a kid. I was just trying to play a game. And it wasn't until I got the Switch and Sword and Shield came out that I was really interested into getting into Pokemon, catching Pokemon, fighting Pokemon, and just trying to learn more about the world. Also, it should be noted that I didn't really watch the series as a kid either. I mean, I caught a couple episodes here and there, but since I never understood what was going on, it wasn't really something that caught my attention. But going back to Sword and Shield, I put over 60 hours into that game because it just captivated me. I love the fact that the Pokemon were now in the overworld. I could just run up to one, throw a ball at it, and try to catch it, and that was cool to me. But I put the 60 hours in, kind of put Pokemon down, and skipped a couple of games, and now here we are. A Pokemon game has caught my attention again. This time, what really caught my attention was the free flow combat. No longer turn-based, no longer waiting on a move and strategizing around, oh, I have this many moves versus that many moves. Free flow. You're on cooldowns, sure, but you can kind of just mash the same move over and over until you win. Fights are quicker, more dynamic, at least to me, and more fun. But that's kind of really what got me here, so let's talk a little bit about how I actually felt about Legends Z-A before I purchased it. So like I said, I was very intrigued at a new Pokemon system. Free flow combat really spoke to me because I'm not a big fan of turn-based. But it seemed like every review, at least upon release or right before, turned me away from this game and really pointed me to a different Pokemon game, that being Pokemon Legends Arceus. So I actually went out and bought Arceus first. I was like, well, this is the game everybody says is really good, more worth it than this game. I'll go out and I'll try it. And I was about 9 hours into Arceus before I really just gave in and said, no, this is not what I wanted to play. I wanted to play the new one. So I bought Legends Z-A, and we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the overreactions of some people. So stick around if you're interested in that. I think I want to talk about the positives and what I really found and loved about this game first, and then we'll address some of people's gripes and complaints and issues with the game with what my thoughts are on said issues, thoughts, and complaints. So first, what I liked about the game. Like I said, what really grabbed my attention for this game was the free flow combat, and I was not disappointed. I am not a fan of turn-based combat, and besides Player Obscure Expedition 33, I really haven't found a game that has turn-based combat that I actually enjoy and can look past said combat system. I mean, I guess except for Sword and Shield. But once I saw that this game has more of a cooldown focused free flow combat battle system, I was all in. And I gotta say, I really do like the fact that I can move around my moves, put them on certain face buttons, so I know like this one has a long cooldown, but these are quicker moves that I can use while I'm waiting for the strong move on the cooldown. And I can kind of just strategize it that way. Plus the fact that I can move around and my Pokemon moves with me is great for dodging certain moves, even going as far as returning to the Pokemon to the ball to like dodge a move and then sending him back out there, hitting him with a quick attack. The strategies in this game that I was able to find out because it was free flow was way more rewarding and fun for me. So it's something I really enjoyed. And then while we're on the topic of the battles, the wild mega battles, whatever they're called, those were also pretty fun. Gave it a different feel. Sometimes I was running around and dodging moves, and most of the time what I would do is I would return the Pokemon to the ball while he does his big move. Return the Pokemon to the ball, run around, dodge, avoid it, send it back out, hit it, try to stun it, and I kept that kind of system going over and over. It brought a little bit of Elden Ring to Pokemon, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. Another thing I did really like about this game was the customization, the outfit choices, and even the hairstyles and colors. While I do wish there were more hairstyles in the game, I did enjoy what I was working with, and almost any boss fight I was wearing something different, something new that I had put together. It was a way to keep the game fresh when everything else in the city kind of looks the same. So I enjoyed that part. Another huge thing that was such a quality of life that when I started playing Arceus, I didn't really realize I didn't like it until I got to Legends Z-A and figured that, oh my gosh, this is what Arceus is missing. The Pokemon management system, the organization of your Pokemon in this game is top tier. At least for me, for somebody who hasn't really been playing Pokemon for that long, this game did it way better than Arceus and even better than Sword and Shield to me. Being able to swap Pokemon on the fly, kind of manage your team and organize and rename all of your boxes, it just made me want to go out and keep catching Pokemon, especially trying to fill up my Pokedex, which I think I'm like 20 or so Pokemon off from, most of those being evolutions from trading or evolutions from leveling. But yes, being able to just kind of freely see all my boxes and kind of sort everything, quickly change Pokemon that were on my team for certain battles that I knew I was headed into, it just made catching and wanting to catch more Pokemon the like main focus for me in this game, which is funny because like the main focus of this game is battling, and with the new combat system that was also enjoyable. So the two main things that you want to do in Pokemon, which is catch more Pokemon and battle other trainers, was extremely fun for me and is why I put more than 70 hours into this game. Fun fact that I'm probably going to get hate for, I put more hours into this game than I did Tears of the Kingdom. So, you know, do with that what you will in the comments. But yeah, the management system was top tier and really made me miss it when I went back to Arceus. All right. So those are a few things that I really enjoyed about this game. So I guess it's time to talk a little bit more about that elephant standing in the room, the graphics. A lot of people in their reviews were negative really harped on the visuals, whether it be the graphics of the building and the environment, the graphics of Pokemon and other characters, or just animations. People tended to really harp on that being the negative of this game, and to a degree they kind of have a point, right? Because the Pokemon Company is one of the most profitable companies on Earth. And so they definitely could afford to spend a little more effort and money on the game to make it look and play better. For some reason they didn't, which I guess we all know what reason that is. But I will say I went in knowing that the buildings were going to be flat and the animations weren't going to be the most fluid and nothing was going to look like Red Dead Redemption 2. So quickly, pretty much after like my first battle, I kind of stopped caring. Matter of fact, most of my playthrough, I didn't even pay attention to the fact that the buildings were flat and only noticed it a couple of times when I was hearing people talk about the buildings being flat. Other than that, I was too worried about catching Pokemon and battling to really care or worry about it. And I will say that another complaint is that the map is a little too small, which I do wish it was a little bigger, and I do wish the wild zones weren't just like some of them, at least, circles of a park in the city. I do wish they were more expansive like Sword and Shields were, but even Sword and Shields was small, I guess, in comparison to something like Arceus. So there's that. For me, it kind of took down the emphasis on exploration and more put it into catching the Pokemon, which I do like about Arceus, is that you kind of just go out and you explore the world and the Pokemon kind of live in the world. So it's something I really have to get more into once I'm playing Arceus more. But I say all that to say that ultimately it didn't affect my playthrough negatively. It just was something that, oh, well, this could be better, but I'm also having fun. So who cares? But I do agree that Game Freak and the Pokemon Company could spend a little more money and effort into making their games look and play better, so that we have something really, really enjoyable to play, go back to, talk about, promote, something that really makes us want to spend more time in this world, catching more Pokemon and fighting more trainers, doing the whole game loop over and over again. And also with it being on Switch 2, I was really hoping it was going to skyrocket the visuals past something like Sword and Shield or Arceus, and even Scarlet and Violet that I haven't really played, so I can't really judge, but I was really expecting a lot more. Granted, it does look better than all of those games, but there's still some drawbacks, and I'm hoping that the next iteration of Pokemon that is more developed with the Switch 2 in mind is really gonna lean into better graphics, visuals, motion, and overall playability. But I will say the graphics alone don't define a good game. It's how much you have fun with said game, and this game really kind of nailed that for me. I poured over 70 hours into the game. I haven't caught every single one that I want to catch. Of course, I did also want to catch a male and female version of every Pokemon that has a male and female version, so I kind of put that pressure on myself to basically catch the Pokedex twice. But after the amount of hours that I've poured into it, it's been an enjoyable game for me, and probably one of the best Pokemon games that I have played personally. A few other things that people had problems with: the lack of voice acting, the fact that you jump from V to F in like one fight, you skip half of the alphabet. Those things really didn't hinder my playthrough. One, I, to be completely honest, hot take, did not really care about the story. I never got this game for the story. I got it so I could fight people and so I could catch more and more Pokemon. The whole thing around the mega evolutions is cool, but I never cared enough, and I didn't play X and Y, so I have no connections there. And so it was just fight the big thing, kill the big thing, take the stone, go catch more Pokemon and fight more people. That's kind of what I took it for. So the lack of voice acting really didn't do anything for me. I was kind of just spamming through text boxes anyway. And the V to F thing, I guess, would have made more sense if you do go through the alphabet, but also it would have got repetitive. So maybe an option there in like the difficulty settings, saying like, oh, if you play on hard mode or whatever, you could go through each thing, and if you play on easy, then you skip half of the thing. I don't know. I don't know how you really fix that other than either have it or don't. Some people were disappointed by it. Some people love the fact that they didn't have to sit there and go through 26 different ranks. Either way, I didn't really care for it. It was what it was, and I moved on. So yeah, I'm sorry that I may be a little more low energy or direct. I filmed this entire thing and then my audio didn't work, so I'm refilming this. And yeah, Legends Z-A isn't perfect. The visuals could use a facelift. I can see why people were disappointed, but after almost 75 hours, I can at least say it was fun. May not be the prettiest, but it's fun, and that's what matters. If you've played Pokemon Legends Z-A, let me know in the comments below. Were you kind of turned off by the low-res textures? Did you have fun? Do you like the free flow combat, or are you more of a traditional turn-based Pokemon player? Whatever your thoughts, let me know in the comments section down below. I think the one thing I want people to take away from this video would be that if you're watching a bunch of reviews to determine on whether you're going to try a game or not, I would say watch them with a grain of salt. Even more positive ones, kind of like this one, I would take whatever they say with a grain of salt until you've played the game yourself. Because if I would have listened to all of the reviews, I never would have jumped in, I never would have tried this game, and I never would have poured 70 hours into one of the most fun Pokemon experiences I've ever had. So with that being said, I bought Pokemon Violet. So we'll see how that goes. And if you made it this far, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell, do all the YouTube stuff. Really appreciate it. But yeah, it's time for me to get out of here. I think my kids are waking up from nap, so I will catch you in the next one. Pun intended. Pokemon. Catch you. Gotta catch them all. All right, I'm gonna leave before this gets really corny. Bye.